Welcome to Card Player TV's Online Zone, and I'm your host, Julio Rodriguez, joined today by W Coop High Roller Heads-Up Champion, Jonathan Iftarii Jaffe. Jonathan, how the hell are you?
Feeling good.
Dude, I bet you're doing good. You banked $315,000 for that sicko event you just played.
Yeah, it's nice to win 36-person tournaments.
Now, I got to ask you about that tournament in general. What possesses a man to put up $25,000 in a virtual tournament, an online tournament?
I wouldn't know. I put up around 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to get partial backing for a thing like that. I feel probably need at least $2 million liquid to be doing something crazy like that.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I see you're practicing bankroll management, I guess.
Yeah, best I can.
All right, now, what about that event in particular just seemed natural for you? I mean, you took down some pretty stiff competition. Just running through the list here, you have Steven Jacobs, who plays as Steve Betts. I mean, he is self-proclaimed either the best or worst heads-up player on the planet. You have Alex Keating, who's cashed in the last two 25K heads-up events online. You have Scott Seaver. You have Olivier Bousquet, who has one hell of a graph. And then the eventual runner-up is Syphilis Alan Bike. I guess he's just a Norwegian or something. I'm not sure on that one. But, like, who was your toughest opponent?
It's tough to say just because he only got, even though it's extremely deep stack, just one match versus each person. For instance, I mean, Scott Seaver, I ran through in probably 20 minutes or so, but it wasn't like he's an easy opponent. I just happened to get cards and things worked out right. And vice versa, I went, about an hour and a half with Alex Keating, but that just happened because, we had a few all-ins go back and forth, etc. So it's tough to say over the course of one match with each player, but there aren't any easy opponents there. Zephosis probably gave me the toughest run, mainly because we never play because we're pretty friendly with each other, so he took me by surprise with some of the plays he made.
Is he another high-stakes cash game player?
He's a high-stakes heads-up player, sit and goes.
Now, what's the difference? I noticed in this tournament there were a lot of heads-up specialists, some in cash games, some in sit and goes. Did you notice one group doing better than the other?
In this tournament, the heads-up sit and go guys did a lot better, but again, it's an incredibly small sample, so I wouldn't really infer anything from it. The difference, of course, is, the depth of play. Cash game guys are used to a lot more 4 and 5 bets because they're playing 100 big blinds plus deep. And sit and go guys, we start at like 75 big blinds deep, and it moves steadily downward. So we're generally playing with about 30 big blinds, which is a completely different game. You get a different feel for different opponents. It changed from opponent to opponent. Olivier played very much like a heads-up guy, like a heads-up sit-and-go guy, with no 4 bets and a lot of simple, small, quick pots, whereas Zephosis, who's the same thing, a heads-up sit-and-go guy, actually played very much like a cash player, a lot of 4 betting, a lot of crazy deep floats, and a lot more complicated plays. So, it really varies, and you don't know what you're going to get from each person. Steve Betts played more like a heads-up sit-and-go guy. Scott Seaver, I didn't really even get a chance to, get into many pots with him. We probably only played about 40 hands. And then Alex Keating was kind of a blend.
Well, you mentioned the small sample size. I mean, there is something to say for your success in heads-up tournaments. You did finish in a tie for third in the 2008 World Series of Poker heads-up event. Do you feel like heads-up is a little less variance? The better players will always rise to the top than, let's say, 6 max or full ring games?
Interesting question. I'm not great at measuring variance, but my feel on it would be just like anything, just like the 3 rebuy is going to have less variance than, say, the 100 rebuy in some senses. The World Series heads up with 256 players which grabs a lot of weaker competition because of the large field and because it's the World Series and everyone wants a bracelet, as opposed to this 36-person tournament with a 25K buy and is going to have a ton of variance because anyone can win this. Everyone out there really has a chance just because all you need to do is win, 5 matches, basically. And 25K is a huge buy-in.
That it is. I got to ask you, I heard you just bought your first piece of property.
Yeah, actually I bought it on my birthday in March.
Now, you're living in Connecticut, right? You got to stay close to those Foxwoods games?
Actually, I live in Massachusetts, right on the border. I used to live in Connecticut, and I hopped over the border.
Now, when I talked to you at Foxwoods right after the World Poker Finals where you finished second, you basically said that you weren't going to really travel, you weren't going to become one of those, tour junkies. You were content to play the World Series and maybe a couple Northeast tournaments. You still feel the same way?
Yeah, I guess my, plans change, but generally my plan would be I'll play Foxwoods in November again because that's close enough to me where I can commute and whatnot and not lose my life in the tournament. And PCA is a great tournament because it's a nice vacation. And then probably World Series, and that's it.
All right, Jonathan. Well, I'd like to thank you for being on the show. I guess the next time I'll see you will be at the PCA. And congratulations on your success.
Thanks, Julio. See you on
I'd like to
Lazy River.
thank you guys for watching the Online Zone right here on Card Player TV.